What's going on, guys? It's Swayze17 here. We've got some stuff to talk about. The Nintendo Switch 2 situation is looking very bleak as of right now. Some of it is just due to very unfortunate timing, and some of it is to do with the most recent Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, which was it was exciting. It was exciting, but there were some very poor decisions made in that Direct, and we're going to go over those. So, starting with the absolute lack of communicating prices. It seems like they didn't want to show off. They didn't want to distract any of us from the rest of the Direct with pricing. They were hiding the price behind the website instead of putting it in the Direct and being clear and communicating with the fans of what the price would be. And that led to Mario Kart World was kind of the same way. It was there. It said $80 on screen, very, very tiny, for a couple of seconds. And so it seems like they really didn't want us to know the prices. And it's the opposite strategy, the opposite approach that they took during the Nintendo Switch 1 reveal, where the first 15 minutes of that presentation, we got the price that we all were hoping for. That was $300. And they displayed that proudly and confidently right off the get-go during the Switch 1 presentation. And you can see here, they're kind of cowering away from that. They're kind of hiding the price outside of the Direct, which had some repercussions, had a negative impact, because like I said, Mario Kart World was also something that I had to go look up afterwards. I didn't see the price during the Direct. I knew it was there, but it was so small I didn't see it. And yeah, obviously that's disappointing, and that would have soured the rest of the Direct for a lot of people. And I think that's why they were hiding it. And I just feel like we were hearing about $90 physical games, right? Because they said $80 for digital Mario Kart World, and didn't really mention anything about physical. And then that led to misinformation being spread about $90 physical games for Switch, at least for Mario Kart World, $90 physical. And then it turned out hours and hours later, basically the next day, that was actually completely made up. That was not true. And physical will cost the same as digital. So Nintendo, by not being clear and not communicating clearly to the viewers and the fan base, you're getting all of this misinformation spread around, and it's hurting your public image. It's hurting Nintendo's public image, because it's obviously bad news, but 24 hours later, we found out that's not even real, because Nintendo didn't communicate it to us. Nintendo didn't tell us. So, a lot of people believed it. So another thing I want to talk about. So the $450 price tag, not what most of us thought. A lot of us were thinking $400, and maybe that was wishful thinking, but I feel like they probably could have gotten away with $400. However, something that we have to take into account is the tariff situation. And I really do think the price of $450, I think that extra $50 was tacked on in anticipation of tariffs. And maybe if tariffs were not going to happen, maybe it would have came out at $400. But unfortunately, in the reality we live in, tariffs are a thing. They're here now, and they are 47% in Vietnam, where the Switch 2 is being manufactured. Which, I mean, if you're Nintendo, this is almost catastrophic. This is like doomsday scenario. You either mark up the Switch to $750 so you can still make a profit, or you just take the L. You just take a big fat L and you sell this console for a loss, which is probably what they're going to have to do. They know their customers, even though they've been out of touch these past couple of days, they know their customer base. They know that they have to sell to families. And when you're trying to sell to a parent, who has other things to prioritize financially, $750 is an extremely steep price to try and convince a dad of 3 kids, to go out and spend that money on. So I don't think they're going to mark it up, even though it's kind of the only way they can make a profit at this point. But I don't think they will. I think they're just going to take the L and stick with the price that they set, hopefully. I mean, that'd be insane if they don't stick with that or move, bump the price even higher. And yeah, I think that it puts Nintendo between a rock and a nuclear bomb. Like, not just a rock and a hard place. No, this is there's nothing. I don't think there's a way out of this, to be honest. There's nothing they can do besides, if they want to make this console extremely unaffordable, that's the only way they're going to get this thing into the market and still make a profit off of it. So it's going to come down to the games. It's going to come down to the first party games making the revenue for them. And maybe that's why Mario Kart World is $80. Don't really know. But that's a whole other thing. Mario Kart World being $80 it's really unfortunate. I don't know the reason for that. I do not know the reason for that. I have tried brainstorming it and everything, and I don't know. I really don't. And because, like, if you think about, we had a decade, maybe more than a decade, of $60 games. And so we're actually, I would say, pretty lucky that we didn't see game prices go up with inflation until just 2 years ago, when they went from $60 to $70. We're extremely lucky as gamers that took so long, because inflation is, it's always happening. It's been happening since 2008 when the market crashed, and it's going to keep going until the next market crash. So we're really lucky that, games have been $60 for so long, and then they finally bumped up to $70, and, fair. It's been over a decade of $60 games. Fair. But now you're giving us just 2 years before jumping it up again to $80. And again, maybe they're trying to fight inflation and still make a profit, but I don't think that is a good move. I don't think that's fair to your consumers. It's only 2 years later you bump it up again. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's ethical. And that price better come down. I really, really hope, guys, if you're planning on getting Mario Kart World, please get the bundle. Do not pay $80 for this game. We need the sales as consumers. If we want games to not be $80, we have to hope that this game bombs and does not break records and, sells super well. Because guess what? All your favorite games will become $80 after that. If it sells really well, everything you want is on Switch 2 will be $80 after that. And then everyone else is going to follow suit. We were joking last year about GTA 6 costing $100. It's not a joke anymore. It's really not. If this succeeds, if Nintendo gets away with this, GTA 6 it's going to be $100. And it's the consumer's fault. It's be a smart consumer. Be a smart consumer and get the bundle. Don't pay $80 for it. Okay? If you're paying $80 for it, I don't know why you even bought a Switch 2, because you could have gotten the bundle. So just get the bundle. Be a smart consumer. Because as consumers, we will have no control over what these companies decide to price their games. If this succeeds. If they actually get away with $80 Mario Kart. And it's Mario Kart. I understand it's super ambitious. It's all connected. It's a crazy looking Mario Kart, but it's a Mario Kart. I mean, if Mario Kart is $80, the next 3D Zelda, what's that going to be? 90? 100? This sets a precedent for a snowball. It's just going to snowball, and it's going to get so bad. Especially with, like I said, tariffs now are 47%. For Nintendo to get their hardware and their games over here, that's 47% more costing them. So it's going to get bad. It's going to get really, really bad. And the timing just is really unfortunate. It could not have come at a worse time for Nintendo. So, that part, the tariffs, it's not their fault. But that's the reality we're in now, unfortunately. And if you look at the article here, there is a little bit of good news here and there, saying that holiday promotions may show like a 10 to 15%. Oh, no, I'm reading this wrong. Okay, 10 to 15% price increase, but a holiday sale, which will probably just take that off and set it back to what we're used to price-wise. But yeah, and he's right here. Expect more games to adopt the $80 pricing standard that Nintendo has set. And by the way, I want to talk about the importance of first impressions, because there are certain moments in the gaming world that go down in history, and they become remembered. They become immortalized forever. And some of those moments are the Diablo guy saying, "Is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke for a mobile Diablo game?" Another moment would be Star Wars Battlefront 2 including loot boxes to get characters, to play as the characters in the game that you paid full price for. You had the loot box system, and that eventually got totally overhauled, totally changed after a massive boycott. But there's moments like that go down in gaming history as some of the worst decisions ever in the gaming industry. And I think that unfortunately this Nintendo Switch 2 Direct is going to be remembered, but not for the good stuff. It's going to be remembered as the first game to be $80. And it's going to be remembered as the one of the only consoles to sell its tutorial as a digital paid game for $10. It's going to be remembered as that. It's going to be memed on for that. And that's what people will remember this Direct. That's the only thing people will remember about this Direct in 10 years. 10 years down the road, I guarantee you we're going to be making fun and making memes about $80 Mario Kart, ruining the gaming industry, and basically a paid tutorial for your own system. How do you justify that? And this is what the lack of Reggie is leading to. Reggie insisted that Wii Sports be a pack-in title, and because of him, it happened. Without him, it was going to be a paid game. Nintendo Japan disagreed with Reggie. They wanted it to be a paid game. And Reggie, being the president at the America Nintendo, which has less power, business-wise, decision-wise, still convinced them to ship it out. So I think this is a moment right now with everything that's going on. Fans are pissed. If you've looked at the Treehouse, everyone's saying drop the price for 3 hours, spamming the chat, drop the price. And I don't blame them for that. But, I think there's better ways to make change. And honestly, nothing is going to change unless their bottom line gets hurt. It all comes down to the sales and the money and the revenue. Okay? The public image, spamming the chats, that doesn't make a difference. Actually not buying the crap that they want to overcharge you for is what makes change happen. So I think this is a moment for Doug Bowser to really prove himself as the CEO or as the president at Nintendo America. Really reassure us. These were the moments where Reggie would come out and usually put himself on camera and really communicate with the fans and the consumers about what's next and what's going to happen in the future, and what Nintendo's approach is and what they're doing right now to fix the crisis that's going on. Reggie was that guy, and now Doug Bowser is in that position. We haven't seen him in a year and a half. His last interview was a year and a half ago, and I think he really, if he wants to beef up the resume on his LinkedIn, come out and say something. Come out, like, this is your moment, Doug. Prove to us why you deserve to be a multi-million net worth CEO. You know, like how Reggie was. Come out and prove yourself. Show us why you deserve to be at the president position. Communicate with us, and you know, that's all we're asking for. So I think this is a really good, big opportunity for him, for Bowser, to really build some trust with the consumers, build some trust with the fans, because right now, withholding information from us, like the price, and upcharging the $80, and then tariffs, throwing everything out of whack, delaying pre-orders, everybody feels really, I'd say, unsure about this console. We're in a time of very much uncertainty of, you know, well, pre-orders are delayed. Is the price going to change now? Is Mario Kart going to come down from $80? Is the game, or is the system really going to come out June 5th? They did confirm it's still coming out June 5th. But, you know, to casual people, these are the questions that we need answers for. And I feel like Doug could come out and be the guy to reassure everybody about what's happening. You know, just a short video, 5 minutes long, of just reassuring the fans. We're still launching June 5th. The price is not going to change. Hopefully, if it's going to change, tell us. Just tell us straight up. And you know, I can't stress enough, man, how much of an opportunity this is for Doug Bowser to really prove himself. And it would do wonders for his future career as a CEO. If he ever decides to leave Nintendo and go somewhere else, you want this on your resume. You want a moment like this on your resume. But he's got to step up first. He's got to actually do it and make it happen first. So I want to end this video off on some positive notes. The game sharing feature. So yes, even though Mario Kart World may be $80, you should buy the bundle anyway. But if you decide to get it, game sharing is now a built-in feature. So, like I said earlier, maybe you're a family man, maybe you're a father or a mother, and you want to get this game and this console for your family, and you have a family of 3, you have a family of 4. Well, you can now game share with multiple consoles, including Switch 1s, to play together, almost like DS download. So that is a new thing, a new option that I feel like a lot of people aren't talking about. For some reason, that's a pretty big feature and a big deal. That's going to kind of ease a little bit of this price hike stuff that's going on, even though I still think it should come down. It should come down to 70 regardless. But, you know, we do have that feature now. So just keep that in mind. I also think it's really great that Switch 2 games are going to transfer your old save data and in some cases add more content, like that Zelda thing. I mean, I'm probably gonna do a whole video on Switch 2 edition games, and I haven't seen the tree houses yet. I'm gonna do a live reaction to the tree houses probably this weekend when I have the day off of work, because they are hours long, hours and hours. So maybe like a 6-hour stream or however long they are. Anyway, let's get back on track here. So Switch 2 editions are going to allow you to transfer your data over, and they're going to, in some cases, have more content. I think that's really great because if you remember the Wii U era, a lot of Wii U games ended up coming to the Switch, and they included the DLCs, they included all the extra stuff that got added on later and labeled as definitive editions. If you were a Wii U owner who bought the game, bought the DLC, you could not transfer. There was no way for you to transfer any of that over to Switch. You actually had to pay for the game again. So I think this is great. They're actually, since it's a sequel console and it's interconnected and everything is sort of able to communicate between Switch 1 and Switch 2, you're going to have all your save data, you're going to have all the DLC you've purchased, and you can upgrade with new content for, I think it's only $10. or the Zelda stuff, it's free. If you have NSO, it's already free. I honestly might be playing that first. I mean, Mario Kart World, it's cool, but that's pretty much going to be the only thing on the system on day one. So I'm most likely going to go back to those Zelda games and check those out. Prime 4 is also one of them as well. Very cool. Even, I'd like to point out, there are going to be free Nintendo Switch 2 edition games. Now, these free ones are not adding new content, but on Nintendo's website, there's a whole list of Switch 2 edition games that are just simply going to patch the performance and patch the resolution to meet Switch 2 standards. And there's a few notable games in there. I believe Mario Odyssey is one of them. But more importantly, the one that I think is the biggest W, really, is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is in that list as well. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet will have a Switch 2 edition for free, which means there's no new content. That's fine. But the game might actually run at a decent frames per second. I don't think they'll up... I mean, yeah, they'll up the resolution, but they're not going to go through and, like, remaster the whole game. So, like, it's still going to look extremely bare bones. It's still going to look absolutely terrible, but hopefully you're not going to have those rendering distance issues. You're not going to see that windmill that goes at 2 frames per second because you're standing too far from it. That should be fixed. That should run smoothly. At least we'll get better frames. The game is still going to look good, like just complete garbage doo-doo, because that's the way it was designed, but at least it'll run smoothly and load times will be faster. Stuff like that. And another game that's not in there, I watched Arlo talk about this. He's the biggest Pikmin fan on the planet. Pikmin 4 was not included in either list for the new edition plus extra content upgrade pack or the free Nintendo Switch 2 edition. So I think Pikmin 4 could have, with how amazing that game already looks, I believe it's only at 30 frames per second because it looks so gorgeous on Switch 1. I think we're going to get a Switch 2 edition that runs smoother, beef up the frames per second to 120, and hopefully if it's a full-blown expansion or upgrade pack, maybe we'll actually get some new features like a cave maker. That is something that people have pretty much wanted since Pikmin 3, and I can't believe it hasn't happened yet. It is a genius idea for Pikmin DLC, and I thought we would have got it for Pikmin 4 a lot sooner, but maybe we'll get a Pikmin 4 Switch 2 edition that includes a cave maker. That would be so awesome. And so it kind of opens the floodgates really to all these different games, all these possibilities where you could just add a little bit of content and make it a Switch 2 edition, up the performance. A lot of games could come back all of a sudden. You know, Smash Ultimate maybe could show back up with some new features. ARMS, for all we know. I mean, it just opens the door to so many possibilities. So I really like that. There are some things I really like about the Switch 2, but like I said, the financial decisions going on right now and hiding the price, cowering away from your price tag and not being fully transparent with your audience it's a really L move. I don't know why Nintendo is feeling so untrustworthy right now. You know, if it's $450, fine. I understand there's tariffs going on. I understand you want to be prepared for that. But that doesn't mean you need to hold back the truth from us. Just include it, just be upfront about it, and put the price tag in the direct. We shouldn't have to do all this jumping around. And then you've got people spreading misinformation, $90 physical games. That wasn't even true. And that's a result of them not being fully transparent and communicating the price to us. You know, straightforward and upright. I don't know, man. Every day I really miss Iwata and Reggie being at the helm, because the decisions that those guys make, we're just not going to see a lot of that in the future Nintendo leadership. I believe it's much more corporatized. It's much more business oriented than it has ever been in that company. And we're really seeing it now. We're really starting to not just see it, we're feeling it with our wallets, unfortunately. And that's just the way it is for the foreseeable future. So, of course, I'm a hypocrite. I'm getting the Switch 2 on day one with the bundle. And, you know, I'm someone that wants to make content. So, of course, I'm going to be there. I'm going to get it day one. But don't do what I'm doing. Don't do what I'm doing. If you're just a regular person, or if you really, really can't live without Mario Kart, just get the bundle. Don't pay $80 for that game. And yeah, that's about it, guys. So I've got a couple more videos planned. There's a lot going on right now, and a lot of controversy with this console right now. So expect more videos in the future. Hopefully they're not all doom and gloom like this one, but I do have some more stuff planned. So stay tuned, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.